Welcome to Cleveland. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank the mayor and thank the region for selecting Cleveland. We're all excited about Cleveland, where we're headed. We're excited about the future of EO, the future of the city. 25 years ago, our chapter started. I was member one, and I happened to be in an entrepreneurial program out at MIT. And everybody in that program had been in this thing called Entrepreneurs Organization, and almost every major city was represented but Cleveland. And it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, to be honest with you. I loved our city. How come we didn't have a chapter? And we had at that time, people were saying, hey, Marty, Cleveland, isn't that the city where your river caught fire? What'd you do about that? And I said, well, we created Burning River Ale. We got an answer for everything. So not having a chapter, guess what? Here we are, 25 years later. It's been great. And so when we started, we'd say to everybody, you can't look down like when you start your business and you say, well, I don't have anything right now. You look out and see what it can become. So we used to say to everybody, think about what this could be in 15, 20, 25 years. This could be the greatest group of entrepreneurs in the city of Cleveland. And so to get into the EO group, for those that don't know, you have to have $1 million in sales. So that's a milestone for a business. But your business didn't stop there. That's just part of your journey. Well, this is a milestone for Cleveland. And so it's part of our legacy, but it's not, the end. It's not the final stop. It's just a great time in the history for entrepreneurs in the city of Cleveland as today. So the Think Big space allows us to gather as entrepreneurs, invite people in from other parts of the city, other parts of the town, other parts of the country to showcase what we've known all along, how great the city is. So we all had visions for our business, and our chapter had visions that included the Think Big space. Now we're going to hear from the mayor talk about his visions for the city. Mayor Bibb.
I got pretty good hands. I might need to suit up for the Browns Bengals come Sunday, huh? By the way, I did see a Kansas City Chiefs shirt on. None of that. I'm just kidding. I'm a really good friend with your mayor, Quentin Lucas, and he owes me some Gates barbecue, I think, sometime soon down in Kansas City. So first, I want to thank Adam for the invitation to join. I met Adam, I think it was the opening day for the Guardians? Opening day for the Guardians earlier this year, and when he gave me the invitation to join, I immediately accepted because I just know how big of an impact this organization has had on our region for years. And for folks might not know, but I too have my own journey as an entrepreneur. I'm a working class kid from the southeast side of Cleveland. My father was a high school dropout who left East Tech to serve our country as a diver in the U.S. Navy. After he was honorably discharged, he joined the Police Academy and Fire Academy at Tri-C. My mom was a social worker for the last really 3 decades serving the city. And so I really didn't know anybody in business in my family, anybody that was a quote unquote entrepreneur. But I got my first crash course in what entrepreneurship was all about as a freshman at American University in DC. And so I was a freshman in high school when 9/11 happened. And I thought the best way for me to serve my country was to be a poli-sci major and study Arabic and join the Foreign Service. I quickly realized after getting, I think, a C+ in international relations, probably not the career for me. But I got a fellowship to do community organizing in Southeast DC at the time. And at the time in the Anacostia neighborhood of Washington, they had some of the highest rates of high school dropouts in the country and some of the highest rates of HIV and AIDS that rivaled third world nations. And as I was knocking on doors, organizing with students who looked like me in the most powerful, quote unquote, powerful city in the world that was a stone's throw away from the US Capitol, I said, something has to change. Because Anacostia reminded me of Dove and Leonard Crave and Lee and Harvard here in the southeast side of Cleveland. And so I changed my major to urban studies. And my dream after my freshman year was to be a social entrepreneur to help figure out how do we revitalize America's inner cities for the next generation. And then I got an invitation to go to Gallup for a dinner. And I met then the CEO of Gallup, Jim Clifton. And as a college sophomore in my very baggy suit at the time, I said, Mr. Clifton, I'm Justin Bibb. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I need your help to become a social entrepreneur. He gave me a book about my strengths, and then 1 year later, he offered me an internship to be an associate partner at Gallup at the age of 22, right? He took a bet on me. And in our first meeting, he says, Mr. Bibb, your job is to figure out how do you build a $1 million business in 1 year. I said, what? I didn't know what a P&L was. I didn't know what a business plan was, but I knew I had the inherent strengths and the lived experience to be resilient, to be entrepreneurial, and to bring people together to effectuate change. And that's that same framework, that same playbook we've been using since I took office nearly 20 months ago as the mayor of this great city. It feels like 4 years, by the way. But since we took office, we've been on this bold, urgent, ambitious journey to really not just restore Cleveland's greatness that we saw at the height of the Industrial Revolution, but to really remake our city for the next generation. Many people don't realize that this was the place. This was the place where John D. Rockefeller got his start. We led the first industrial revolution of this great country. And because of people like you, I think we have the ability and the can-do spirit to do it once again. To me, as mayor, it first starts with public safety. Public safety is the prerequisite to opportunity and promise in this city. And our administration is making historic investments in police to make sure we keep our streets safe and secure. We're using new technology to get guns off our streets, but we also recognize that we have to deploy a multi-pronged approach to reduce violent crime because we can't arrest our way out of this problem. That's why we are one of the first cities in the country to use $10 million of ARPA funds to create the first ever neighborhood safety endowment fund to invest in the proven interventions that we know can reduce crime in our neighborhoods. We're modernizing our city hall. When I took office last year, it took me nearly 2 days to get my email account set up. 2 days. Jeff can attest to this, by the way. Most of our employees didn't have Windows 7 or Windows 8. They were still working on old systems. Now, every employee at City Hall has a Microsoft 365. And for the first time in over 2 decades, we have a brand new website for the city of Cleveland as well, too. But beyond just modernizing City Hall to make this a better place to do business and grow your respective companies, we are so focused on making sure we truly see real promise and real change for our waterfronts. We are a 2 waterfront city, and every mayor probably since Tom Johnson has had a lakefront plan. But I tell you, we will be the administration to finally see real vibrancy and real opportunity on our lakefront, because that will be our unique ingredient to really make us a competitive city and region for the next generation. But all of this work we're doing to really ensure that the promise of this city and the promise of this nation is real recognizes that we can't do it alone in government. I'm a big believer in not big government or small government, but smart government. Smart government. And the best thing I can do as your mayor is to create the right conditions for good quality job growth. And so I'm so thankful for your investment in our city, but I do have a task for all of you. I do have a task. You know, in this job, it can be very hard when you get the late night phone calls after a young person has lost their life to gun violence, or when you get the late night phone calls that we've lost one of our first responders to an issue related to public safety in our city. But the thing that gives me hope in this very hard but rewarding job is the resilience of our residents. A couple months ago, I had the chance to tour a new literacy program in our city. And I met a resident named Melissa. She was in her mid-50s. And when she was 9 years old, she had this big, audacious dream to be a Pulitzer Prize-winning writer. And at the time in our city, she didn't get the respect or the love that she deserved. And she spoke candidly about her first experience during career day, when she told her teacher that she wanted to be a writer for the New York Times and win a Pulitzer Prize. Her teacher said to her, as a young black 9-year-old girl, that is not a job you deserve or can get. You people just have babies or work as a cook or a maid. It broke her heart. Think about that at 9 years old. 9 years old. And nearly 3 decades or 4 decades later, she says, you know what? I'm gonna get my GED. I'm gonna learn to become a writer. And she just got published. She just got published. Melissa's counting on all of you to continue to give hope, opportunity, and promise. And collectively, with all of your strengths, your ingenuity, and your ambitions, I know we can deliver on that promise for Melissa and all the residents of our great city and our great region. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
3, 2,